Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for Season 16, Round 13 of the Championship. Welcome to the historic Spa-Francorchamps circuit for the Belgian Grand Prix. I'm your host, Zach RC. Alongside me once again, returning this week, is our favourite co-commentator, Touch with Pope. Pope, welcome back. How you doing, mate? Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be back. It is very good to be back. I did miss it last week, but I was out having a bit of fun. Listened to a bit of music, but there's not many things that is more fun than watching near 20 amazing drivers tackle this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Excited. 19 corners, the longest track on the calendar. It's going to be exciting, Zach. It's going to be really good.
I'm looking forward to it. Belgium's always fantastic on these games, and if obviously it's a very different track, but if last week's race ended to go by, we should be in for another cracker. Of course, you obviously weren't here last week. I will fill you in just briefly for our viewers at home. I imagine you also saw the stream as well last week. Imre took home his first career victory in the RDL. We've been waiting for that for quite a while, haven't we? It's been about a season or so since he made his debut. I think, in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he debut at this very circuit last season?
I think it might have been a few races after. I think Nicholas was here last season. I don't think Imre was in Belgium, but I could be wrong. As you know, I'm not typically the start man, but I believe it was just Nicholas last season.
Well, I mean, it took a while because, of course, we did see flashes of pace from Imre, especially over the course of towards the end of season 15, and especially in season 16 so far. So it's almost criminal that he hasn't been able to clinch that first win, but he's done it now. So that one to chalk up on the board will hopefully mean that we see a bit more confidence from Imre as he looks to try and hunt down the top four in the standings. And speaking of that Drivers' Championship, after last week's events, the two Williams cars, Grimio and Landlord, dead even in points, both on 71. In Grovey, fought back a bit last week. She's 10 points back in third place. Slazenger fourth with 50 points. He's 21 back from the lead, and Imre is on 36. So he is more or less, he's got about half the points for the leaders. So, but still, honestly, if Imre has some results go his way, I see him trying to wrestle his way back in towards this fight with the top four.
Yeah, I mean, never say never. It's obviously we're running a lot less points this season due to the new point system, so only the top 8 get points and there's no point for fastest lap. So I think for these drivers there is a chance to scrape, but obviously there's less points to go around, so it will be quite hard. But Imre just needs to do what he's been doing recently. He's really turned a new page since his return after, I think it was Imola, I think his return was?
Yes, it was, and he did a fantastic job, and he has done since.
Did fantastic there, so I have hope for Imre to catch up to that top 4.
I've got my eye on him here in his Ferrari as he comes around through turns 18 and 19 that last chicane. Pope, do you want to take us on a lap of Spa here? Of course, it's one of your favourite circuits.
It will be a very long one and probably take up the majority of this session, but barreling towards turn 1, he's done the right thing. Make sure he's got enough width going into turn 1. Turn 1's a corner you need to nail because you've got such a long run going to El Rouge and Radion. Remember, it is 2 different corners. That's the biggest meme that I know of this circuit. So that's 2 and 3, El Rouge Radion going into the Camel Straight, I want to say it is. I'm not too sure. My straight names at Belgium, it's not one of the best tracks, I do have to say. But, and then going to a chicane of 5 and 6, that's the end of sector 1. Look at a split of 30 seconds pretty much on the dot there for the Ferrari. Absolutely fantastic. Turn 7, really easy to lose the car and invalidate on that left-hand side. Going into turn 8, very, very hard as well. One of my weakest points on the circuit. And then going into the corner with no name, turn 9. These corners in the middle section are so vital to get right. You make up a lot of times where setups come in handy and you need to make sure you not put too little downforce because this will be an absolute pain. Turn 11, all sorted. Going into 12 and 13. A great overtaking opportunity if you've got a good run through 10 and 11. Easy to invalidate on that right hand side. Going into 14, that's the end of sector 2. We're going to check what his split is here now. 113.4. It's looking very good here for Imre as we see Flying Duck take provisional pole. It's one big straight here. 15, 16, 17, all kind of blend together. Flat out, we're going to set up for the bus stop chicane, which is 18 and 19. Easy to make a move on the inside, easy to lock up into that corner, so we'll see late on in the race if anyone's going to make any last-ditch moves. Bit of wheel spin there on the exit, but 141.6 is something not to be sniffed at.
Definitely, fantastic lap there from Imre to properly kick us off qualifying. Of course, Flying Duck did it the first time. Flying Duck for context, is K. Scott from the last few weeks. Of course, made his debut back at Silverstone. Still in the reserve role. Grimio goes fastest there, 1 minute 41.2. Quickly blowing Imri's time out of the water by 4/10. So, of course, Grimio up to his old tricks in qualifying. Of course, we do still think back to that hilariously impossible to repeat run back in season 14. I think it was 18 or 19 pole positions from 24 races, Pope. I'm not quite sure.
It was
along those lines.
Outrageous.
And,
I think it was 19.
I think it was, to be honest. I'm just trying to think about, because of course we always come back to that at the end of qualifying in China. I mean that whole ordeal would have been almost a year ago at this point, because we are nearing the we are sort of nearing June. Of course, the clocks have changed in the UK. So
don't even get me started on that. Oh my lord, I had a heart attack.
You had a heart attack?
I thought I was on TikTok for an extra hour.
You're kidding?
No, seriously, I saw it go 1 o'clock and then 2 o'clock. I went, hold on a second, what's just happened here? An existential crisis.
For some reason, I was waiting. I thought it'd do that from midnight to 1 o'clock, because I've never even been awake for when it changes. So I must have gone to sleep before then. Anyway, we were slightly off topic, but yeah, obviously we are getting towards that nice part of the year now. So we can commentate in the blistering heat. So that'll be fantastic fun for me and my lovely PC down here down by my right foot. Regardless, pushing back into qualifying business here. So 7 cars on set lap times. Grimio's still the fastest there. Lucky Lambert puts himself P3 there, 1 minute 42.1. Fantastic lap from the Aston Martin there. Flying Duck on his first lap has outdone C110P Fan, the reigning champion, but of course Fan is on the medium tyre. So we always notice this, Pope, he's on that strategy, going the medium tyre for that first run, and then push it onto the soft tyres later on.
It is something that I used to love to do, but I used to go on the mediums towards the end of the qualifying, try and get a lap on, but they absolutely screwed me when they removed the rule that you start on the tyre you qualified on. Absolutely screwed me. I
remember you used to start the ultimate strategy in the race as well, if I remember correctly. You don't see a lot of that nowadays.
Oh yes, I do love a good alternate strategy, as I always say.
Gaming James joins the session here. So of course, James of course he's been out there in recent weeks in his last few races. Hasn't been doing too bad. Of course, Mercedes are still sort of in there with AlphaTauri and Aston Martin. That scrap to avoid finishing last in the constructors. We seem to get a few teams that are always just sort of in that bubble every single season. Of course, I think back to again. I know we keep going back to season 14, but a lot of stuff happened in season 14 that we can easily reference here. In particular, that fight, but I think it was between Williams, Alfa Romeo, and AlphaTauri as to who would avoid finishing last in the constructors, and that of course came to a head in the reverse group finale in Brazil, which was a very entertaining race. But I believe you may have missed that day, or you missed the last few laps when everything went down, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I do believe it was something along those lines.
But regardless, hopefully...
I've just noticed Grovey's gone P2.
She has, yes.
Outstanding lap. Fantastic lap there by Grovey. Only 1/10 behind Grumio. Now, one thing that I do know as a driver coming into this commentary box is the gaps do look quite crazy right now. We're normally seeing, especially this season, the gaps in qualifying being quite close. This track will have extended gaps, mainly because of how long it is, and obviously the longer the track, the gap will increase the faster the driver. So it's nothing really to be too worried about. It's just, it will look a lot worse in qualifying, but it will translate into the race.
And we do always argue that with a longer track, there's a larger room for error, just in terms of more places to make mistakes. That makes sense.
Exactly. So it's just one thing to keep in mind, I do have to say.
Fair enough. Schlesinger, I see him on his just leaving going on to his next run here. Schlesinger, of course, he in terms of that race in between the top 4 in the Drivers' Championship, of course, he is still there. 21 points is obviously a bit bigger in terms of this season's points compared to perhaps last season's points. I mean, it's around the same sort of margin, but he'd need Grovey and the 2 Williams cars to make a mistake or two if he wants to get himself back into the race and really help Grovey with that push to the Constructors' Championship, because obviously he's put a shift in Schlesinger. He's been fantastic this season, and of course a lot of respect goes out to him for consistently putting in those results, but we just need him to be up there on the podium a bit more often, if that makes sense. Of course, no disrespect to him, but I think for Red Bull's case, in terms of running that Constructors' Championship, that's what they need.
I mean, seeing that, he is only 11 points off Grovey, so it's
true, yes.
I'm a big fan of Schlesinger. I think he's really improved this year. I mean, he didn't qualify much last season, but Now that he's partaken in qualifying, it's really showing the pace. It's a bit of a weird one. It just seems like both Red Bulls will do well at a circuit and both Williams won't, but then it'll be Williams 1-2 everywhere else. It's very, very bizarre this season in terms of the Williams are once again just showing how dominant they are. Obviously, Landlord's not set a lap yet, so I think is about to
Yes, he is.
go for the lap.
He's in the last few corners now, but I think he may have backed off and made a mistake on that first lap because it's only 1 minute. It's only a 2-minute 14 from him here, and we know for a fact that Landlord can do a lot better than that. So we'll see what the 3-time champion has to offer here, and see if he can catch his teammate and catch those 2 Red Bulls. The Stajin has gone P2, so but look how close it is, Pope. Look at that. It's less than 200 of a second separating Stajin and Groby. Very tight.
Absolutely fantastic. It is. It's very good. And this is why Landlord has backed off to get a lovely slipstream from his team. Romeo, very good tactics there by the Williams team. They know what they're doing and is down into the 29s in that first sector. I'm going to say mainly due to that slipstream. That was fantastic teamwork there by the team. And
this is a pairing that have worked together, I think, for almost definitely as long as I've been commentating for, if not longer. Save for season 12 when they were fighting in separate teams in the championship. Of course, I think Grimur was in the Alfa Romeo and Landlord in the Alfa Tauri, and it was Landlord who emerged on top that season. I'm a stato tonight. You know what? You know what's going on.
You are. I mean, actually, look, I've been teammates with Grimur before. I think maybe 2 seasons. Yeah, I don't know if you knew that. We actually won the Constructors' Championship.
What game was
in
it?
The Racing Point, so the 2020. Yeah.
Long time ago.
So it was the season before I won the championship.
That would be season 10.
Season 10. It was either season 10 or season 9. I'm not too sure actually. It's one of those two. It was on the 2020 game, and I know that Gruyo will help. It was fantastic. Towards the end of the season, it's when I picked up my pace a little bit, and I was really helping try and get us that Constructors' Championship, but I was helped many, many times there. But Landlord could have used a bit more help, I would say. A 141.7, not as strong as what you would expect from a former champion and the man sitting P2 in the championship, but we've still got about 7 minutes to go, is it?
Yep,
5 minutes to go, sorry.
Plenty of time still things to change, because we've seen things change in the final minute in a qualifying session such as this. But yeah, I think you are right, Puppy. We would think that just based off that first sector last time round that there'd be a bit more oomph to that lap. I mean, there wasn't really too many mistakes I picked up on during that last run, so we'll have to keep an eye out here on it. Gaming James up into P6, Fan now in P7 on those soft tyres. Of course, PJ Coward and Ethan behind those guys. The Alpines continuing their consistent run, and I think in their case, as they look to hunt down McLaren, having the one full-time McLaren in the race tonight, being in Fan as BJ's not here this week, that will definitely help their. I think that will definitely help their case. If I have a quick check of the constructor standings here. The gap between is 16 points still between.
Yeah, 16.
But that can be
for
close
me,
down.
if Alpine beat McLaren, what a season by those two.
Especially given the start as well.
Exactly. What a season. I think they'd be so happy with themselves, and they should be. Really good driver pairing, and it'd be nice to see what they do in next season's. Maybe I think they've improved the pace. I think even next season they're going to get even faster and even faster, hopefully competing at the top.
Could we see that pair become part of that? So that we will still have that top 3 that sort of break away. I've noticed this in the last few seasons. I know we have gone off topic quite a bit so far in this qualifying session, but I always notice this. In terms of sort of hierarchy in the Constructors' Championship, each season I've been here, there always seems to be either 2 or 3 teams that will break away from the Constructors' Championship. There'll be a fight for sort of 4th place between cars from about 4th to 8th in the standings. And in most cases, the teams 8th, 9th, and 10th will be fighting to not finish last, more or less. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but it's just something I feel like I've picked up on since I've been here.
That is bang on. Yeah, you are absolutely correct on that. It is. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I think it just shows you the caliber of the drivers. We still do have a lot of teams fighting for consistent points, and having top 3 constructors fight is unbelievable. Like, it actually is completely unbelievable, because in many leagues you'll normally have one constructor that runs away and then a drivers battle, but there's obviously been a few occasions where it hasn't really fit the fold, but in most situations I would agree with you there.
Just under 3 minutes to go in this session. It's still Grimmy and Slash on the front row. Both those cars back out onto the racetrack. See Grovey coming back out as well. Imrie is out there right now on his outlap. Landor was staying where he is in the pit lane, so actually he may try and go later into the run. But he hasn't got too long to actually make his way out there, because of course this is a long circuit and you need some time to get your tyres warmed up before the lap itself. See one of the Haas cars coming out onto the racetrack. That will be Cottony. Goblin is making his way out. Of course, Haas in their P7 in the Constructors' Championship. The majority of their points coming from Websy, who sits 8th place in the driver's standings right now. Of course, Websy has had a solid season. Of course, perhaps not on there as much as the highs of last season, where of course he finished runner-up in the end, as we do often enjoy pointing out. But it's still been a very solid season for Websy so far, given that I feel like and we said this quite a bit in the case of a few drivers in particular, but the points don't 100% reflect just how fast some of these guys have been this season.
I mean, yeah, as we head in just before the final laps of these drivers, we obviously got that thing posted about in the Discord, so obviously I'll inform everyone here, all the viewers watching, about who actually has lost the most points. And it is actually JB who's lost the most points with this new rule change. I think he should be on like 27 now, and he's on 2. Or it's something like that, where it's really unreflective of how good JB's actually done this season. But it's an incentive to push that a little bit faster, and hopefully get to that 8th spot. That's all you need, just that 1 point, and it means so much, especially with how close it is at the bottom of that Constructors' Championship.
As it always is, indeed. Into the last minute of qualifying now. Let's me and you, let's try and get 1 minute of actual qualifying commentary under our belts here before we end things off. Grumio is just backing up to give himself a nice bit of clean room on the racetrack and to let Imrie go. Imrie's a 10th up on his previous effort out of Sector 2. We'll see what it looks like here when he makes his way out the last intermediate and towards the line. It's going to be 141, but how close is it? He improves, but it's not enough to uphold Grovey or Schlesinger. So he stays where he's in P4. He's got one more chance here, but of course the majority of that battery would have gone down. So I imagine that'll be his last real effort. Landlord is on his way through. He's got 10 seconds left to the line. He'll make it there just fine. But I imagine someone in this train behind him might not make it. I'm keeping my eye here on Flying Duck in the last corner. Might make it. A bit of a start of the last corner. He'll be the last to make it if he does. He has made it just. That was very tight. As the checker flag came out, that's why he came over the line. And he slid it through turn 1. So perhaps that might be a lap over. There it goes. Red J crossed the line. I see Ethan and PJ crossed the line. PJ stays P8. Good qualifying for the Alpines. They can stay where they are. Next car through to the line will be the Alfa Romeo of Cot 5, who joined us earlier on. He's got no front wing. That could be a potential problem here, Pope.
I mean, it might help him with that back straight, you never know, but I don't think it'll be very good for him, I do have to say.
1:53 for Cot, but no time according to the timing screen there, so start P16 for the race, and I imagine Websy JB has had problems on case retired from the session. Barry over the line, stays P13. The 2 Red Bulls on the way through now. Let's keep an eye on these guys in particular. Grovey was down in a second sector, but what a Schlesinger up his sleeve. Can he upholster the car on pole? He can! By 2/10, Schlesinger improves. Grovey towards the line. Grovey stays P3. Grumio is 2/10 up, so right now he's on course to potentially knock Schlesinger back off the top spot. We'll have to see what he can do here. He can't make a minute.
Very close.
I'm thinking,
very close.
I'm looking at a 1:40 from Grumio here in terms of projected time. He does get 1:40.
Oh.
He just does not know when to quit. Grumio on provisional pole. Can Landlord do anything in these late stages? Imrie retires from session. It will be P4 for the race itself. Gaming James over the line here. Stays in P6. Landlord was 3/10 up for the last corner, but can he get himself onto the second row? Potentially he can. P3. Williams on the left. Red Bulls on the right. Off your run to the first corner. Landlord puts himself in 3rd place. That knocks Grovey down to 4th. And with Flying Duck, the last cars come across the line. That'll do it for qualifying. Grumio is on pole position once again, and he'll lead us up towards La Source.
Williams Red Bull. What a very typical story of this season, but it's so good. It's so close between those drivers. It's incredible. And C110P fan, P6. What a great end to qualifying for that McLaren.
Definitely. Fantastic stuff for them. We'll have to have a quick look here at the top 10 before we go away for our brief intermission. So it's Grumio on pole, followed by Schlesinger, Landlord, then Grovey. Imrie rounds at your top 5, and following behind them, C110P fan, Gaming James, PJ Khaled, Ethan, and Lucky Lambert. So that's your top 10. We'll be back in a few minutes' time for the start of the race. Welcome back then to round 13, ladies and gentlemen, of the Races Driving League Season 16, the Belgian Grand Prix here from the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Again, I'm your host, Zach Osley, alongside me once again, Touch Me Pope, ready to bring you through our 13th race of non-stop action. 22 laps around Spa-Francorchamps. Very historic circuit, Pope, one of the longest we visit, 19 corners across the entire circuit, and definitely a chance for some potential chaos with a threat of rain later on in the Grand Prix. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, 13th race of the season, and do you know what happened in season 13?
What happened, Pope?
I won the Belgian Grand Prix.
You did do that, and
I won it.
And what special occasion was that?
It was on Zach's birthday as well. It was fantastic. It's just a perfect. It's quite funny. It's actually the 13th race of the season. Actually,
that was a good day. That was a good day that day, wasn't it?
It's a good day. Yeah, fantastic day. But it just shows you that anyone can win this race, truly. If I'm winning it from the back of the grid, anyone can win it. So for these drivers, a good incentive to push forward. Even if you did have a great qualifying, it's so easy to overtake here, especially with the big long straights and the use of DRS. But there has been a bit of conversation between the drivers. Might be getting a bit wet later on in this race. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's exciting.
That could be a big span in the works for these guys later on in the Grand Prix. We'll have to wait and see just what the weather has to offer us here in Belgium today, but it should be fantastic. I mean, it was nice and dry for us on the way up to the comments box. Hopefully, we shouldn't have any more issues later when we have to go out for interviews. Hopefully, we get an interview or two from these guys later on in the day. But yeah, it should be good fun, and we're looking forward to it. Belgium always gives us fantastic racing all around, and we'll go through your starting lap in a moment or two once you get the formation lap underway. But yeah, Pope, if you had to give me a winner, who would you go for today? Give me anyone. Give me a winner.
Ooh. It's a tough one. I think you are looking at the top four, which obviously if you did not know, if you didn't tune in for qualifying, it is the two Williams and the two Red Bulls split in between each other with Grumio first. Then you got Slazenger, P2, Landlord P3, and Grumio P4. I think it's going to be one of those four. My heart is saying Slazenger.
Let's see if you're right then. Let's go for your starting lap then ahead of the Belgian Grand Prix. Round 13 of the championship. Starting dead last, all on his own on row 9 is the Alfa Romeo of Cot. Of course, who didn't get a time in at the end. Actually, he did cross the line for a lap, but it may have been an outlap. I'm not too sharp in there, but he did not get a time in according to the game. So therefore, we'll start last for this race. In front of him, it's Red J and Barry together on row 8. Both of them starting, or Red J, the one car going on medium tyres today. Sorry, guys, soft tyres. A few cars on mediums, including Barry himself in the AlphaTauri. 14th place, Scotland Goblin. Of course, we saw an appearance from him in qualifying. Towards the end, he got himself a bit further up the grid, so fair play to him. JB starts 13th. I believe he scored a point last time at Hungary. He's looking for more of the same this time around to help Aston Martin's push. Flying Duck, formerly K. Scott, starting in P12, reserving in place of BJ today. Webbsy lines up in P11. Did a fantastic job in this race last season, looking for more of the same. Lucky Lambert starts your top 10. Again, a bit close to the points than JB is this time around, looking to try and nab a few places off the start. He's also on the medium tyres for this first stint. It's the two Alpines in front of him. That's Ethan and PJ 9th and 8th. Of course, those guys, we've talked about, they've been the story of the season, I think, because they've been on an absolute run recently in terms of just being consistent scoring points. They need a bit more of that to get closer to McLaren today. Gaming James lines up in P7, definitely one of the stronger debutants from season 16, looking to try and nab some more points, maintaining his starting position will be a huge plus for him later today. Reigning champion C110P fan lines up in P6. Looking to, now that BJ's not here, he's got 8 points to try and close on his teammate. Can he do that today and get himself high at the championship? He's tied with Curtis, who of course is one of the cars not here in tonight's race. So we're hoping to try and get the leg up on him and Websy as well. Emery lines up P5. Says he's been struggling with the setup throughout the weekend, so could be potentially in trouble, but looks to try and close up and add to that win he got last week in Hungary. Grovey lines up 4th. Says she's been facing the same sort of issues. Didn't have a wet setup at the ready, potentially, so could be also in trouble when that rain hits, should it hit. Landlord starts in P3, of course, tied with his teammate who's on pole at the top of the championship, 71 points to their names. Slazenger lines up P2, looking for a podium finish or the win. Is Pope's prediction for the win in terms of just trying to close down the 21-point gap in the standings. 11 points in front to Grovey. And on pole position, record champion Salve Grumio, looking, of course, to extend that gap to the cars behind him and look to push on to nab the championship lead outright and, of course, make his march potentially towards extending his own record and winning a 7th RDL Drivers' Championship. Because he's getting to that point now, Pope. We have to start thinking about the standings. Of course, we're halfway through the season at this point, so anything could still happen as we see these guys take their places now on the grid. Caught the last car there. When will that rain hit is the key question and could be a great equaliser in this race and play a huge part as who comes out on top, because it could be anyone in today's Grand Prix. That's just the magic of the Belgian circuit. And we'll find out in 22 laps time. We're waiting now for the lights. 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix. Round 13 of the championship here at Spa. Held for a long time, but it's lights out, foot to the floor. Go, go, go. Bad start from Grumio there. They go 3 wide before they even reach the first corner. Slazenger around the outside of both Williams cars and into the lead. Pope, you played to absolute perfection now in your prediction. Slazenger leads away. Alpine wide in the back of the pack. That looks to be PJ as they run down towards Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time. It's Slazenger away from the 2 Williams cars. Landlord, then Grumio, Grovey and Emery make up P4 and P5.
Yes, great start there by Slazenger. Surprising as well on the hard tyres, getting a good start. But soon as he's had just as good a start, his Landlord on those mediums, heating him up to perfection. Obviously, the medium tyres are softer than the hards, going to warm up quicker and going to be faster in these opening laps. Something to keep an eye out on for. So Landlord now taking the lead from Slazenger. And now Grumio's also going to try and make a move down the inside of Slazenger. Fantastic move there. And gets the Williams into a 1-2 position. Now they are secure. They're going to try and bolt away from the rest of the pack.
Those Williams cars, Pope, they're not playing around. They never play around. We know this for an absolute fact. Those Red Bulls don't play around either. Slazenger will be right on the tail of that of Grumio, trying to get him back for P2. But what a start we saw there from the Red Bull. Grumio did not get off the line well, and Landlord's taking complete advantage of that. And he's on the softer tyres, so he can use the pace to his advantage and just try and pull away. Look at that. He's already pulled about half second, almost 7/10 on his teammate, and the pack behind him, they're just trying to keep up. See, Gaming James has made him a place. He's up to 6th place over Fan. I assume didn't go away from the line too well either. PJ Khaled, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. This is our first check limits violation of the race in terms of penalty. He ran a bit wide there going through Lasource. I'm not sure if he's got damage or not. I believe he has. He's lost an end plate on that car, so they're making contact at turn 1. Not sure who would. Not sure if there was contact. Not sure if there's another mistake elsewhere, but that'll be a huge dampener for his chances in this race. So not good start for Alpine.
It's not great at all, and they've already got a bit of a pack split now already behind Red J in that Ferrari, who is just falling away by 2 seconds. Would have expected a lot better, to be honest, especially on those soft tyres to keep up with the pack. But we'll see if PJ can make a move on Red J. We'll have to wait and see.
Landlord then leads us on to lap 2. Back up Eau Rouge again. He's got a half-second lead over Grumio. Emery into P4. He's taking Grovey for that position, but Grovey want to try and get that back before Gaming James and Fam both advance on her. They're closing as they make their way down towards Lacombe. James outbreaks Fan, who who thinks better of it, chooses to wait for a better opportunity and get back at his old Mercedes as soon as he can. Ethan passing JB for P10 there, puts him inside what would have been the old points. Currently the last point held by the Aston Martin of Lucky Lambert. Webb's about 8/10 back, and then Ethan about second behind in 10th place, while his teammate is staying out with that wing damage. Is that potentially a detriment to him, Pope? What do you reckon?
I think he kind of has to at this point. Obviously, looking at the tyres, we are expecting the rain probably, in my guess, lap 14 or 15, just by guessing where everyone's used their tyres, a lot of hard tyres. That's where you probably pit for the hard tyres. So that's what I'd assume, lap 14, 15. I don't think PJ wants to lose any positions now or lose a pit stop behind everyone.
Sorry. Cut you off there. There goes James spinning off. Big collision here. A blind corner, and I'm surprised that no one's actually out of the race there. Big shunt.
Horrendous.
Caught in a very unfortunate position there. Gaming James just spun out and just sort of took the pack with him there. C110P fan, I think, well, the two McLarens in particular may have got the worst of it here. They're down to both to P14 and P15. Cott's got damage. Landlord's set the fast lap. Ethan's got no wing. This race for Alpine is taking a nightmare turn just like that, absolutely on its head. James into the pit lane, into the Websy for company there in front. Lucky Lambert's in, Courtney Goblin is in. And that brings a number of cars up to the field here. That brings Barry to P6, Barry's P7, and Red Jane's P8.
Yeah, very good for those two, who really need that bit of momentum and a bit of luck. But yeah, shame for all those drivers. And obviously, I wasn't riding on board, so I'm afraid I didn't get to see what actually happened there. But a lot of drivers caught up in that, but no safety car, surprisingly.
No safety car in that instant at all. But what I just saw briefly when looking from the back of Imri's car, he was defending from the Red Bull of Grovey. It just sort of looked like James was perhaps became a bit too hot on entry, lost the car, lost all grip from the tyres, and then just sort of spun it round and found nowhere to go in that case. And obviously, when there's a big pack like that, it all sort of spirals out of control. So, unfortunate that a lot of cars caught up in it. But I think they've all went out of the pit lane here as Gaming James is getting right back to work here on those medium tyres. He's just taking Webster for P11 there. These guys in the back split up quite a bit, and I do feel bad for the McLaren because I believe they would have had to double stack. Actually, I scrap that. I believe Flying Duck stayed out, as a matter of fact. So Fan did actually have to double stack.
Any damage?
So
somehow
he's gone away with that quite nicely indeed. Here, these top five are continuing breaking away here. Imri is within 2/10 of Slazenger, looking for that third spot. He's pulled to the outside of the racetrack, going into the bus stop chicane. Slazenger outbreaks him. Imri thinks better if it stays in line for the moment. These guys are all still quite close together, and I imagine that DRS will come into major play for these guys later on in the race. Slazenger sets the fastest lap of the race there, so he's in the money right now. He's not doing too badly because he was in the lead. He's lost out to two Williams cars, but I'd say he's not in too bad a spot, given how early we are into the Grand Prix. He could be like these guys who are sort of from P11 backwards, further back in the field, relying on a safety car or just some sort of intervention to actually keep them in the hunt for points. But he's going a bit deep there for Eau Rouge. Imri could try and come back at him now. DRS in full play for the Ferrari and for the Red Bull. But Imri's got a better run going in and using his overtake to his advantage. Closing on Slazenger. Won't get close enough for a move though. Maintains P4. Grovey though falling back. She's a second back from Imri now. And down in P5. And with a bit of work to do to close up.
Yeah, Slazenger's below 10% ERS. You can see that by the red flashing light on the back of his car. So he's low on ERS. What I'm looking at from Slazenger is a wet setup. You can clearly tell he's got a wet setup on the car. It explains the amazing launch as well at the start of this race. But look how much time he lost going towards El Rouge Radion through the straight. But look how he's gaining this middle sector already with a lack of ERS. He's got a heavy wet setup on. He will be brilliant come if the rain does hit at a good time.
Looking forward to seeing if it really does come into play. As you say, it will, Pope. I mean, obviously that wet setup could be a big change later on in this Grand Prix. It could massively play into his hands. But of course, should that rain come later, because there's definitely a point I think where the rain will become too late to actually have an impact. I'd say that'd probably be around, if it was to come sort of around lap 17, 18ish, then I'd say it's probably a bit too late to make the change unless it really starts hammering it down. I think back to Canada, where of course we saw the rain change so quickly. I think Pope, I remember you saying it was probably the quickest you'd ever seen a track turn wet.
Yes, that race still baffles me. I've actually rewatched that quite recently. I still find it completely bizarre of how it just happened in a
yellow flag.
Blink of an eye.
That's caught around. It looks like he just sort of skidded off there and almost ended up in the barriers, but no damage to Alfa Romeo, just time lost unfortunately. He gets himself back in the running again. Caught with a bit of work to do to get himself back in this race.
Bit of a mystery, I would say, Cott this season. Someone who did so well, making his debut in season 15, just not been able to capture that form at really any point this season. We've seen glimpses of the pace, but just unfortunate luck, I would say, on Cott's side.
Of course, we saw him take the win in Austria. Of course, we didn't see it ourselves. We had no stream that week, unfortunately. But so yeah, I do agree with you. As much as it pains me to say, it has almost been like lightning in the bottle, just trying to recapture that same form. But of course, he did join us towards the end of last season. So I believe it was Japan he made his debut. So, and of course, we are getting towards those circuits in a few weeks or so. So I imagine we'll be seeing that pace come back again soon. But there are a number of drivers we do see, and we have seen in the past, who really turn things up when we get towards the latter stages. I think back to one driver in particular for me that was Alvar. He was fantastic in the later stage of the season. I believe I remember him racing with Grumio for the lead at Kota at some stage, if I remember something correctly. That was again season 14, another reference.
It's season 14's like, what was it? What was it? Season 14 the other day as well at Britain, where we've just completely gone into season 14 nostalgia mode.
It might have been, to be fair. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's we're rolling back the seasons here. It's crazy to think that. I remember joining my first ever time in RDL on the 2019 game. Yeah, that's how long I've been here.
Long time, and there's been plenty of memories, no doubt, both on the racetrack and in the commentary box. Although personally, I think I've put the ones. I think I've put the moments in the comments box, including the singing in particular.
Oh, who doesn't? See Imri trying to line up a move on Schlesinger again. Low on
sorry, I have to cut you off here because I see Grumio going for the race lead, going down towards Lecom. I'm sorry, I do hate to cut you off, mate, but that was a move for the top spot. Grumio taking it over Landlord, and now looks trying to establish lead. Sorry, I hate to cut you off, but please continue.
No, it's okay. Don't worry, it's all. Imri not able to make a move. I think both of them are running higher downforce setups. Obviously, Grumio now taking the lead. I think for the pair of these two, maybe Grumio's going to try and pull away, but I just don't really see it working. I just think these guys are just going to keep swapping and taking the lead. I think that's the smartest thing to do until the rain hits.
Tell you what else I'm seeing here, Pope. I've just seen Flying Duck make a move on PJ Khaled for the ninth spot. PJ is still hanging on with that wing damage, which fair play to him. That Alpine driver refusing to give up, and he's sort of keeping up with these guys. But I imagine he may start to drop off a little bit into these higher speed corners. And there are a large number of those here at Spa. But Flying Duck, he's already closed about 3/10 or so on Barry and Red J. So I dare say we'll be seeing him make a move for those places in a lap or two here. Behind them, Gaming James being chased by Websy for the 11th spot.
Yeah, I think obviously losing downforce does not really affect you too much in the slow speed corners because you're going too slow anyway. There's not that effect. It's these high speed corners and the medium speed. There's so many of them around this track. So PJ is going to really suffer, and obviously I'd like to see him with a front wing, an actual front wing, to see what the pace is looking like for that LP, but it's not looking too bad with the damage. And like I say, he's probably just waiting out now for a safety car or waiting for that rain.
Of course, that's still quite a way to wait. We're on lap 7 here. We're about halfway to the point, more or less, where we said we imagine the rain will be hitting, just based off what people have been saying. I think we could see Imri make a move here for P3 as he tried last time round. Again, the fact that Sargent has DRS doesn't help as Landlord retakes the lead from Grumio. Imri on the outside, trying to outbrake the Red Bull. Can't quite do it. And Grovy's still there behind these guys, so could potentially try and pick up the scraps that her teammate has left behind. Looking to make light work of Imri if she can, but can't quite do it just yet.
Yeah, great defensive drive in there by Schlesinger. And these guys know exactly what they're doing. They don't have to fight yet. This is not where you're going to win the race. You don't win the race in the first inning. You don't win the race on lap 7. So these guys taking the time, smart. Oh, Schlesinger with a kick of oversteer though through 11. That's put him off a little bit, but not too much. Still doing very well. But yeah, these people fighting right now is not really too big of an event. It'll be in those last few laps. Hopefully, when the rain is hit.
Let's wait and see. Just mainly when it hits. That's the big question, because that will sort of dictate how the race goes sort of from there. Having a look further back here in the field, Barry and Red J still holding on to those places, but Flying Duck is right there with them. For the minute, I'll keep an eye on these guys. If something happens up front, you let me know. But just feel free to cut in whenever you need to. But Flying Duck is on the move here. He's closing in massively on Red J. Still on those soft tyres. I just feel like it's been on them for a long time, just because of how long this race has been so far. Only on to lap 8 of this Grand Prix. But Flying Duck, I'll keep an eye on him here, but I dare say he could look to make a move on Red J, perhaps going down towards Lecom, down the Kemmel Straight. And Red J, he's keeping up with Barry right now. He's about half a second back from him, but he's just not being able to get closer to make a move, and that's what's costing him here as Flying Duck closes that gap massively here. I dare say he could go for a move at La Source. He's going to pull to the outside of the racetrack, or briefly went for the inside, but chose to move back around the high lane. Red J might potentially clip the barrier a bit there, going through turn 1, and that could allow Flying Duck to come right back in. He won't go for it into a rouge. He's smarter than that. He'll wait for the passing opportunity to come through as he makes his way up there, a bit off the curb. May have lost a bit of time, but here he comes. No DRS on Red J. Flying Duck to the outside. He is looking for that points pay in place. There he goes. The reserve around the outside for McLaren, taking away P8. And we'll let's get to working on closing down the AlphaTauri of Barry.
Lovely stuff there for Flying Duck. Grubio making a move past Landlord, nothing really too exciting, just basic. The past few laps have been very, very similar, but Schlesinger is losing a little bit of time now towards these two, which is a bit surprising, but I'm going to keep an eye on Landlord and Imri's pace. On the medium tyre, that soft tyre should be pretty much done with by now. I'm looking about lap 12 for those mediums to start falling off.
And look at the clouds too, it's clouded over a lot faster than I may have expected here. And so we'll have to keep an eye on the halos here for when we see those first few drops of rain. These guys, these top five splitting up a little bit here. They're a bit, they've gone sort of back and forth in terms of being close together and then being a bit more spread out. I imagine you've noticed that as well, Pope, as Imri closes in on Schlesinger. Just can't get the moves to stick on that Red Bull. It just goes back and forth, when Grovey's just sort of sitting here. What I imagine must be frustrating for us, sort of watching these two respective fights happen and having a front row seat for it and just wanting to get involved but can't get close enough.
No. And I have just realised I have not done my obligatory statement of this is the track I made my debut at.
Is it actually?
It is, yeah. Oh, raid!
Ah,
Don't
whoa!
go away.
Shows the right time for that.
For another race. Oh, this is going to get very, very, very tasty. Websy already in the pit. I assume going to go on to intermediate tyres very early. Very, very early. But here at Spa, here in Belgium itself, we do know how quickly the weather can change. And someone who will know that is Grovey, her home race.
Indeed. So, of course, she's looking for a big podium or something like that just to give these Belgian fans a reason to be out here now in the rain. Because we've seen it impact Belgian Grand Prix a lot in the last years. Webbsy's the first car into intermediates. Cott will be joining him in the pit lane. Surely Webbsy's already out there, but here comes Cott. Verstappen helmet on that car. He's always got that Verstappen helmet on, which I do appreciate. Despite obviously not being a Verstappen fan, I'm a neutral in that respect. But regardless, I think now those two are through. I think everyone will be in this time, and that could be costly potentially. This could be an opportunity for Imri to try and potentially work his way up the order. Because his teammates further back.
No yes, Schlesinger losing it on the curve there. I'm trying to look at the track. I can't tell. The only thing around this circuit with rain is it is so you have to blink early because it's 1 minute 40 lap times. It's crazy. And yes, 3 of them in the pits. You have Landlord and Schlesinger and Imri. Grovey and Grumio staying out. We'll see if it benefits them too, but I'm not too sure.
So no double stack then for those two cars. Well, those two teams rather. Both teams are in. Schlesinger away, nice and easy. Or rather, is he away?
No, he's stopped in there. That's not good there by the Red Bull
What on
team.
earth happened with the Red Bulls? And Schlesinger has been hit massively. I thought it was just lag for a second, because we've seen that in the past, but I'm not sure why he was held so long there. What happened?
I'm not too sure. Maybe an error with the light. I could not tell you too much, but that's not looking good. But yes, it is time for intermediates. You can tell by the way the rain is hitting the track.
It's changed so quickly, and I imagine that Landau will be getting a lot of time here because these guys, as you say, Pope, you are completely correct. You have to blink fast on a circuit that's as long as this one. If it was me, I would have risked the double stack. If I was one of these guys, either Grumio or Grovey, I would have taken a double stack to still be right there with my teammate.
Especially Grumio. Grumio was the lead in Williams. It's baffled me.
So I imagine that Landau will emerge a 10th or 2 in front, perhaps even a second of that. You see, he's gaining 10ths already. It's going to be. It may not actually be that close at the pit lane. I dare say we could see Landau and Imri potentially being the ones leading this thing when things cycle through. It's just 3 cars waiting on here, waiting on Grumio, Grovey, and Lucky Lambert to come into the pits. Just those 3 cars.
Yeah, that's a very bizarre decision. But if you just look at Lucky Lambert now, skidding through these corners, it just does no grip at all.
He is struggling in particular there. He's got to massively lift there for the left-hander. DRS disabled as expected, and Grumio's in. Grovey obviously will follow. Grovey a bit of a slide there going through the last corner, avoiding a pit road penalty. That is crucial. I dare say Landau took the lead wrapped up on this one.
I think even Schlesinger might pass both of them. So yeah, Landlord with the lead. Emery, still far back. The gaps in the wet you need to be very, very close in the wet to make a move. So, Emery needs to, we've seen him last week. You've got the momentum of a race win. Put your foot down.
And he's just got himself in front of Grimio there. Emery into P2. Grove up to P4, sliding down P5. That mistake from Red Bull has massively cost him here. And now he's got to rely on just pure driving to get him up the order. Just look to prey on any mistake the cars in front of him may make. It's changed things, the order here. Flying Ducks in P7, Barry's to maintain in P8. So this rain has hit at the perfect time for some of these guys. So they can maintain their positions with ease. And now we'll see how the wet weather driving comes to the fore for the guys behind him, looking to try and make up time from those incidents earlier on.
Indeed, indeed. And Sludgeon now with a 3-second penalty. Oh, it's not good at all now. Looking for that Red Bull team. I was going to say Williams team for, I don't know why my mind's just gone there.
Barry there hit the penalty too, so the outside, the Bulls are having problems here. Not good for those guys. 4 cars on the racetrack with penalties right now, those cars being Slazenger, Barry, PJ and Cott. So the guys will look to try and just sort of to make do with what they've got there. Langlo's got about a second and a half here on Imrie in the race for the lead. Grimio's about 6 tenths back. Of course, we know Grimio's good in the rain. He's good in a lot of conditions. Let's face it. But so is Imrie, because Imrie pulled away last week. He did absolutely fantastically to come away with the victory in those conditions. So we know he can do it, but the question is, can he do it this time around? Because this is a very different circuit.
Yeah, I think we're only on lap 11 as well, so well, lap 12, and now we're about to just hit over the halfway mark. Yeah, it's a very weird circuit, Belgium, and oh, look at this by Grubio. How the inside one.
That's who retires it in the pit lane, I think.
The pit lane, yeah. I'm not too sure why, maybe an issue with the car, maybe that's what they were looking at in the pit stop. And it's just come to blows where he's not been able to finish the race. Very big shame for the person I thought was going to win this race as well, but Rubio making a move up past Embry, going to try and dart off to chase for a teammate.
And remember Lando? Pope, remember this is for the Drivers' Championship lead. I remind you, Lando takes it by 2 points if he wins today. Grumio takes it by 2 points if he wins, but that's why these guys follow each other home 1 and 2. And that retirement will not help Red Bull's chance in the Constructors' Championship, leaving Grovey there on the racetrack by herself to try and close up that 1.5 second gap to Imrie, who will no doubt be looking to keep in it. But Grumio has already put a second up on the Ferrari, and he's almost within a second of his teammates. So Grumio's on the move here.
Yeah, it's one thing to gain, but it's another thing to pass in these conditions. So, be interested to see, but it's just raining heavier and heavier. I don't think we're there quite yet for wet conditions, but if the rain picks up that little bit more, maybe, just maybe.
Of course, it's been quite a while since we've seen wet tyres come into play in this league. I can barely even think back to the last time I actually used them in that respect. It's always been either just dry all the way through, or dryers and some intermediates.
I can tell you where.
Can you?
Spain.
Ah, yes.
In qualifying. There you are. There you are. Didn't expect that knowledge to come out of touch me phone, did we?
Not at all.
But there you are. It looks like I was driving on it and I do remember it.
That is true.
It's a very weird experience.
I think you probably remember the more the stuff you've been driving in, probably, as opposed to stuff you've been commentating in. Speaking of commentating, I'm going to do some here because Grovey's within half a second of Imrie. She's on the move now. The Belgian fans will not be roaring their approval in the grandstands, seeing the sight of their hero in the Red Bull, looking to take on the Ferrari. Oh, Cott's gone around. Cott loses the car. Again, no damage done to the Alfa Romeo. We'll keep an eye on this fight for third place, because these guys will be going at it, and there's quite a bit going on back there as well. Red J looking to hold off Gaming James with P8. We'll flex those guys in a moment. The Grovey, DRS, no DRS, overtake wide open, down the Camel Straight in front of the home crowd, looking for third place. Can she pull it off? Can she outbrake Imrie? Going into the corner? Yes, she can. Grovey takes P3 to the approval of the home fans, and Gaming James there getting around Red J at La Source. So I'll put Red J out of the points. Just try and get Gaming James back as soon as he can, or hope this one has a mistake in front. And JB in P5, right now best of the rest, doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, you can feel the commentary box shaking after Grovey made that move to that podium positions. Imrie not looking as confident as last week in his intermediate conditions, so I'm not too sure. Maybe that setup issues are coming to light a little bit more in these wet conditions. But as you may mention, JB in P5, fantastic, and actually gaining on Flying Stuck, as you made sure that everyone knows, and I didn't know, it's K-Scott, for anyone that is wondering.
Let's keep an eye out here. So PJ, of course, remember, he fought the entire first stint with wing damage. He's now back on a fresh wing and intermediate tyres, and he is really giving the business to Red J here. Almost practically bump drafting the Ferrari through turn number 9 there. My maths in terms of corners isn't fantastic. As I make those down the hill. Was I wrong?
No, you're bang on.
Oh, fantastic.
9, 10 and 11.
Sweet.
All sorted now.
In that case, I'm doing very well at my job and won't be fired. Moving swiftly along, PJ, yeah, as I say, he's practically shoving Red J through along the racetrack here. But of course, not literally shoving him, because that would be against the rules. But you may have heard me there, because he slid through the corner and could be wide open for the reigning champion C110P fan to make his move, closing in. We could be seeing a 3-car race here for the 9th spot. Can Red J hold these guys off? Gaming James is already a second and a half down the road. So these two want to get around Red J quick to try and fight them, say, it's that last point, which could be crucial come the end of the season. PJ, oh, a bit late on the brakes there. Goes way wide in the bus stop. Fan around the outside. That's close to contact. Fan almost losing the car as well. These two go side by side down the main straight, looking for La Source once again onto lap 14 of this Grand Prix. Fan has the edge. Can PJ outbraking? Going in very tight between two veterans of this league. Fan there, slightly skidding on the exit at turn 1. PJ gets the place. Move PJ into P10, but can Fan come back at him?
This is going to be a brilliant battle going into turn 4 and 5. This is incredible to see. Going down to the inside of the track. PJ does nothing to defend from Fan. The reigning champion through into P10 and will try and make a charge himself against Red J.
Speaking of Red J, his Ferrari teammate Imri just got hit with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. I think more or less at this rate he may just be locked in for P4 as Grovey, I don't know, this has closed the gap to Landlord completely here, so she's looking for P2 now. Yeah,
locked in is Grovey, and could really make a move here going onto the start for this straight. Obviously, places become a little bit unorthodox, what we're not used to on this circuit when the rain hits for overtaking, as we just saw Fan and PJ have a great battle going into turn 1. Will we see something like that between these two? We'll have to wait and see. And Cart once again spinning out in set 2. No, I've got a race here for the Alfa Romeo.
Grovey looks to the inside, might try and outbreak the former champion through turn 1. She's on the inside. Can she do it? Not quite there. She's still side by side, but Landor gets the better job off from the outside and then pulls clear, using a bit of overtake there for some of that battery to his advantage. All this scrapping allows Grimmo to pull away a bit more. That gap was closing. It was about 1.3 seconds down sector 3. It's now back up to 1.5 again. So these guys need to sort out, right, who's going to run second, who's going to run third, who's going to hunt down Grimio for this race win. Grovey, of course, is 10 points back from both these two cars, needs these points to close in. Oh, Lionel almost losing it there, but saves it wonderfully. But Grovey in P2, and now the race is on. The pressure is on for Grimio. Grovey's gone, may have lost it there, a bit loose there through turn number 6. And Grovey falls back behind Landlord.
I think Grovey was letting through Landlord, to be honest. I think maybe due to the contact, but in my opinion, you should have gone for it. I think that was a clean, just scrapping moves. You do get those moves in these conditions. And Grovey, I was bewildered, kept it within the white lines. It was fantastic, that move. I think it's a bit of a shame that she did let off to let Landlord through, but that's a sporting thing, and maybe I'm just not a sportsman.
To be fair, I'm not overly sure. I'm not sure whether it's a mistake or not, because I was looking at things from back from Grimio's rear wing, so I'm quite away from it. Speaking of quite a way away, Grimio's pulled out 3 seconds now. So these guys, whoever wins this fight, is now got work to do in the last 7 laps. Where's that come from? From Grimio then. Head down, pace on. As Grovey looks for second again.
Yeah, Grovey taking second place. It's going to be really hard now to catch Grimio, I will have to say. And we know how confident Grimio is at leading a race, so I'm not too sure if they're going to be able to find P1, but P2 is still a nice hefty point.
Landlord, I think just switched back on Grovey there. That was fantastic. These two side by side once again, and the battle resumes. Grovey has the inside going into turn 1, and this time she merged him from a can. Landlord get her on the inside. He can! Almost switched back again, and Cott, I think this time, has crashed it. Those safety cars deployed.
Yeah, Cott with a race to forget. I would say, here at Belgium. It's just not been very good for that Alfa Romeo driver, but we know he's so much capable for more. And yes, as we said, virtual safety car race coming to a pause. Obviously, no safety car on track, but it does limit everyone's speed to a delta, so no one's gonna be gaining or losing a significant amount of time on each other. Otherwise, some drivers do like to try and gain as much as they can though under this.
I mean, if there's time to be gained, number of cars in the pit lane here taking advantage of the time you gain, or the fact you lose less time on the virtual safety car making a stop. So these guys looking at fresh intermediate tyres. Gaming James for one, Fan for another, Websy, Lucky Lambert, or Lucky Lambert, sorry, not coming in, he's got a penalty rather. But these guys, I think, will get back out on the racetrack before the green flag. And as I said, the flag comes back out, and Courtney Goblin drive through for speeding under the virtual safety car. And he's already dead last as it is, last of the running cars, so things are going from bad to worse for him. Grovey's pulled away to a 1 second gap over Landlords. I think she may have P2 on lock here short of a mistake, and will now begin to lock in and hunt down our race leader, the record champion Grumio, as she looks on potentially for a win at her home circuit. And remember, this is her first RDL race here at Belgium. I imagine she's obviously driven Belgium before in other leagues, but of course things are special in the RDL, as we all know, and I can only imagine what it must be like to win your home race in a league, especially as competitive as this one.
Things are special here at Belgium with a lot of past. Got 15 other drivers who have took the top spot. It's crazy to feel like that. Obviously, some people are gonna win it on repeat, but 15 times we've raced around this circuit, and getting your name etched onto that trophy is a beautiful feeling. And she will join greats. She will join greats of this circuit, like myself.
Oh, okay. I had a feeling that's where it's going. Landlord into the pit lane here. Not sure what the strategy is for Williams. Has he got damage? I don't think he has. But I mean, perhaps looking at a fresh set now towards the end of this race. But could that mean we see fresh sets for these guys, or is it time for wet tyres potentially? No damage done. It's wet tyres. Well. We have a change.
Ooh.
And we were saying this earlier, weren't we?
Oh, I love this. I love this. This is going to get very exciting. Very
you're gonna miss a race like this when you're back driving again. I think you're gonna miss watching this happen.
Yeah, but I'll be driving it, hopefully winning it next season. That'd be quite nice.
Yeah. That is true, but we have got
to see.
We have got just 6 laps to go. It
has picked up.
It
has really picked up.
You are right. It has. There's definitely a lot more spray on the circuit than there was before.
We'll keep eyes on Delta. I think that's the thing to check on right now for Landlord. But just some of these helicopter shots. See, I'm running on board with JB from the crane shots and the helicopter shots. The spray off that tyre is it's incredible to look at. I do have to say.
Graphically, I know people complain a lot, but this game's decent in terms. It could have
it is.
Yeah. I don't see what people complain so much about having a new game engine. If I'm honest, 'cause I mean the game still runs alright for the most part. But we won't discuss that. We'll keep our eye on the racing here. Now, could a change in tyres? Will that play into anyone's hands here? Grovey's got 3 seconds to close in. Can she do anything here? Is there anything you reckon she can do to try and gain time other than just try and outpace the Williams in front?
So, looking at Landlord already, he has gained a second on these wet tyres.
Oh, give me a big slide there. Grimio stays out.
I think Grovey staying out. I think for the top 3, they're not going to bite. They're not going to bite at Landlord. Though I think they probably should debate it. They won't do it. That's fair enough. But because they're safe in their positions, really, Landlord's probably not going to catch up to them unless it gets a little bit heavier. But gaining a second in 1 lap, we'll see what he does on this second lap. But that's a hefty amount of time to gain. I think for Grovey, I'd pit. You're faster than Imrie, and if you can gain a 5/10 improvement on Grumio, you might have a chance.
That's wait to see if there's any more late changes. So far, just Landlord's come in. Oh, quite a skid there. We're seeing a lot of skids in the bus stop chicane in the last 2 corners. Drivers coming in too hot. Gaming James is still defending that last point. He's got Barry a second behind him. Now AlphaTauri looking for points to try and get himself, and obviously trying to help AlphaTauri the order. That point could be crucial for those 2 teams later in the season. And JB with a big 4 points will also be playing a huge role for the Green Machines. Of course, Lucky Lambert down in P13. That's been a fantastic race for him. I make that P12 as Red J makes a change for wet tyres too. That change getting a little bit more popular this time. I have to wait and see if anything goes down.
Landlord's already gained a second. on this up until now. So, or just under a second, should I say. So, wet tyres are the right tyres to be on.
And I think now, if I'm honest, yeah, I think these top three definitely know that if they change tyres now, they don't win this race. So I think Grumio will definitely stay out to the end regardless. C110P fan penalty. Landlord is 21 seconds behind him right now. Grovey is just under 3 seconds back from him, from Grumio. We'll see if these guys come in. We'll see if there's any change, late change strategy. Grumio stays out. Grovey stays out. So those are two we keep our eye on here. Imrie right now is on track to still finish on the podium regardless because of Landlord's making his change. Landlord has to gain another 10 seconds in order to stop that from happening. But Imrie on for a podium here. 3 different manufacturers on the podium.
I do love to see that. That is something that does put a smile on my face. One thing that is noticeable though is Imrie's, I think, struggling with his transition from intermediate to wets. Someone who isn't is Grovey. Grovey gaining a little bit of time, losing it just about now, but gaining a little bit of time on Grumio with his transition into heavier wet tyres. Wet weather racing is so different to dry. It's remarkable, and your driving style completely changes. One person who I think is incredible in the wet and doesn't get enough credit is Tinky Winky. He used to race here. Unbelievable driver in the wet conditions.
He was fast.
Unbelievable.
I'll give you that. He was incredibly quick in the wet weather. I've always loved this about racing in particular, especially when you have to change conditions like that, because because you look at a dry race, a dry pattern perform as well, but then you go into a wet race, it's like you hardly know the driver in the dry. In the wet, they're a completely different beast, and that's what's fantastic about racing.
Honestly, it's one of the most enjoyable things to look at of these changing weather races. It really does show people's strengths and other people's sort of weaknesses in their things, and it's something that I know I'm not super strong in wet conditions, if it's full out wet conditions, but if it's transitioning conditions, I feel really good. It's just one of those weird things. I think it's so incredible that even though these cars are still set to equal, everyone drives so differently.
It's fantastic to see indeed. Grumio coming through 3 laps to go here. Pope, do you want to just do me a quick favour? Check the race director to see if Grumio's got any track limits warnings, because of course, in the event he gets a penalty, he's still right there in the danger zone, because Grovey's been getting in within 3 seconds each time. So just keep an eye out for me, if that's okay.
Will do, mate. Will do. I'm gonna go and check now. I could already probably answer the question for you is no, because Grumio is someone fantastic at keeping the cars within the limits. However, obviously these wet conditions could change things. They are both sitting on 1 warning. So I think the fear of any penalty is kind of wiped away. But I'm not going to jinx anyone.
We'll have to wait and see. I'm speaking of seeing, I'm seeing C110P fan and PJ who are still going at it on the racetrack here. Those guys still race each other for P9. 1.6 back off Barry. Again, we'll keep an eye on these guys because they potentially could have something to offer. Fans on fresher intermediate tyres, so I imagine he'll be the one to try and take him on and could deny AlphaTauri that point. Fan going all over the shop here in an attempt to try and gain a better exit on PJ, looking for that 9th spot and then get it down towards La Source. Starting around a little bit down the main straight here. 3 laps to go for the reigning champions. Try and get that last point off Barry. Into La Source they go. Found the inside. And Pope, you are definitely right. Honestly, when you first said it, I didn't agree with you until I probably saw someone change onto wet tyres. But on some of these camera angles, you can definitely see that the wets are practically required here.
This is the one thing about being a driver. I've always known. I've had a lot of help with multiple people about when's the best time to change and how to look out for it. It's just completely swamped for wet conditions, and yeah, crazily enough, I'm pretty good at noticing the very small differences.
I think that's what winning a championship in these places will do to you. I think, but it's almost like being. I imagine what I've sort of picked up from me being a media student. When you look at film, you can't help but notice all the little details in the film. And I've noticed that. That's why I don't go to cinema as often as probably I used to. Regardless,
I'm a student. Films are ruined for me.
Yeah. Regardless, we'll keep on pushing on. Grumio's got just under 2 laps to go now. He's just crossed the line for lap 21. Grovey 3.3 back. I think short of a penalty. I dare say this race is over. Again, short of a late mistake. But Grumio just somebody doesn't make those mistakes. And Landlord's change onto those tyres has been a big gain for Grumio in the championship. It'll be a big gain for Grovey too. Help her close right back in. By my count here, of course, 10 points for Grumio and 5 for Lanos. That opens it up to 5 points in the championship. And Grovey will be gaining three of those points. So it'll be, by my count, be 7 points covering the top 3, which is even closer than it was earlier.
It's very tasty. Oh my lord, Landlord skating through Radion there. That was that was a Elwood and Radion. Both of them, he just skidded right through. That was a treacherous moment for that Williams.
Keep my eye on mid-pack here. I see the flying duck has caught JB Racer here. Up the hill they come. And this could move for P5 Pope. JB has had that spot for a long time today, and wants the 4 points and not 3. But I mean, obviously, as he is a full-time driver and Flying Duck is not, he'll still get the points. But I imagine he wants the position as well. Of course, this is a big improvement on last week, and that should mean that Fan finishes the points regardless. But he wants that place off of Barry. He takes it for P8. The reigning champion is back in the points paying place. He's moved Barry down to P9. Oh, he got wide off the circuit. Barry gets it back. Excuse me.
It just shows you the conditions that these drivers are having to face with. They're treacherous. They are horrific. Those on the intermediates are very, very brave. And I do have to say, 11-lap-old intermediates, Bracer is doing absolutely fantastic to keep Flying Duck behind him.
Without doubt, let's see if he can cover him off over the course this last lap.
Oh, Gaming James sliding through turn 11 there. Oh, these drivers are losing a lot of grip now.
Well, they've only got to hang on for about another lap or so here. Speaking of that last lap, Grumio begins lap 22. 3.5 seconds over Grovey, who I imagine will be elated with a home podium. But man, it could have potentially been the win today. Barry the penalty there, so that will mean that I think Fan finishes in front of him regardless. What a day it's been. He's got 12 seconds of penalties. There'll be a number of cars who take their places in front of him. I imagine that could potentially see PJ up into no, sorry, not PJ into the points. He's got 9 seconds. It looks like, it definitely looks like Imri will be safe in 3rd place, despite having that 3 seconds. That gap now 4 seconds between the 2 leaders. Grumio is on his way around to pick up what will be his 6th win of the season.
Yeah, great recovery from Grumio, especially after not getting a race win until race number 5, I think it was.
That is true, yes.
So, yeah, no, it's been really good recovery for the Williams team, who looked a bit off the pace at the start of the season, but have shown why they are the 2 drivers that hold the most championships. As Fan makes an incredible move down the inside of Barry there, making sure he gets that P8 on the circuit.
He wants to keep it that way. He wanted to close a few more points on his teammate. JB gets back around Flying Duck. So that is P5 secure from him. James is closing these guys down because he's got a penalty. But can he catch them later on? We'll have to wait and see, because he's on 6-lap hold inters compared to the 12-lap hold inters for these guys in front of him. So we'll have to keep an eye on these guys. There's a late chance. Emery gets a penalty here. That could potentially jeopardise him a little bit more, but he's still got one more penalty will do it for him. But one guy who won't be worried about penalties now is Grumio, who's on his way through the last couple of corners. Played the transition to perfection. Those extra laps that Grumio and Grovey stayed out have been absolutely crucial to the win today. Grumio sliding there. I almost thought the race win was off for him, just like that. But Grumio runs the line in front of the Haas. Oh, it spins over the line. And he makes us cross the line. Grumio wins the Belgian Grand Prix. Grovey home in 2nd. Home podium for her. Imri, only just in the end, will hang on for P3. One more penalty, I think, would have finished him off. Throwing over the line for 3rd. Landlord, that gamble for the wet tyres just didn't... It brought him close, but it wasn't close enough in the end. So he'll finish in 4th. Frustrating for him, I imagine, given that he was leading in the first stint. JB is through, looking to close for an absolutely fantastic P5. Gaming James, though, catching both these guys. He's within a second here. Can he get them both? I don't think he can. I think he'll be able to get one. Oh, there goes Flying Duck on the inside. That could jeopardise both the exits. Gaming James underneath. Can he get P6? Can he nick it off Flying Duck? Can't quite do it. JB for 5th. Get Flying Duck 6th. And Gaming James in 7th in the end. And Fan will nick the last point as James crashes over the line. We've got a horrible mess.
There's a lot of cars there.
And these guys they've been waiting about 12 laps to be spinning like that. Websy for P9, then PJ, Barry, Ethan, Lucky Lambert and Red J, as well as Cockney Goblin rounding off the end of your order. Oh, both Williams cars sitting there, destroyed.
Left inside.
And I imagine that the boys from Grove will be very pleased, or the boys and girls from Grove will be very pleased, but will at the same time be a bit angry that they've got to haul those things back to the factory and get work done on them before next week's race at Zandvoort.
Oh, Zandvoort, it's exciting, Zandvoort. It causes a lot of havoc. It's been one of the curse races of this league.
We've got a number of good tracks going up, and this is one of them. This is start a very good run of races. There's 7 points
my
now.
favourite section.
Pending your decision, 7 points separate the top 3 in the championship, and this is big. Grovey is very much in that Drivers' Championship fight still. It's not over for her just yet. Those Williams cars are strong, but she could still do it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. No, it was a fantastic race. Fantastic race. Grumio undoubtedly deserved the win. That drove fantastically. But yeah, 7 points, top 3. I think it's going to be very, very hard for Grovey to keep up with the teammate power that Grumio has with Landlord and Landlord with Grumio. Slats are just good, but these guys are champions for a reason.
And it looks to be on course to nab the Constructors' Championship, provided they can keep going how they're going. And Grumio now 5 points clear in the race to win that record 7th title, to emulate, of course, such Formula 1 greats as Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton in terms of real world championships. Imrie spraying Grumio there on the podium. 3 different teams on the steps today. Fantastic to see. We'll have a look at your final results then after a very exciting Belgian Grand Prix. So it is Grumio who takes the win, followed by Grovey and then Imrie in 3rd place. In 4th is Landlord. 5th place goes to JB. 6th is Flying Duck. 7th Gaming James. And C1SMP fan nabs your last point, which is all done from my head because this game is stupid in the sense that it times me out in the results screen. Fantastic day all around. Absolutely love it. And now we'll get interviews going. We'll get some post-race interviews in as soon as we can. Pope, give me your thoughts on that race, mate.
Really enjoyed it. I think it was very good. It's good to be back in the commentary booth, I do have to say. But yeah, it's Belgium's a long one. It's a very, very long track, very long race. So well done to the drivers that finished it. And yeah, I just remembered we had that huge crash earlier on in the race as well.
We did, yes. Of course,
That felt like
James came back
ages ago. Yeah, so good recovery for a lot of those drivers.
Definitely, without doubt. Well, while we are here, Pope, we do need to do our word of the race. Last week I got JB to do it. This week I'll go back to you. So let's think something good here.
I don't know what to say. I'm going to go with... Can I do a phrase? Yeah, go on. It's Radion, actually.
Should we go Radion?
It's Radion. Yeah, Radion. It's Radion, actually. Whichever version you want, put it down in the comments. Put it in Discord if you're a driver. And make sure you subscribe to the Zach RC channel.
Obviously. Yeah, I lost a few subscribers the other day. It's because I'm not posting videos, which is...
Because I wasn't on the stream last week, that's why.
Yeah, it might have been like that. I'm actually saying that. I'm pretty sure I gained 2 subscribers during the race last week.
Oh well, never mind then. Okay, I'll leave then. I'll leave the comment.
No, don't. Oh, I miss you too much. Let's not do that. Right. Looks like we're quite empty tonight in terms of post-race interviews. We could get JB in. We've done that recently.
Yeah, we do like the bracer going in.
I'll ask him if you get anything. And a lot of these interviews recently.
Yeah. Do you know what? We might take a break from him and then just bring him back after Crazy Races.
We'll see. We'll have
I'll
JB
always be there next season anyway.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You've got to make sure you come in post interviews, yeah, because you know the pain. JB, we have you here. Mate, more points to the board, P5. Congratulations. How do you feel?
Yeah, interesting one. There was this crash, I think it was on like lap 5 or something.
Yep.
And I was one of the few people not to get taken out, so it was really luck because half the field had to pit for a new wing and I didn't. So, but you had to be in it and the conditions were were horrendous, because it was like last week where we were on inters, but it was wet, full wet conditions, so we were playing all over the place. So I had to keep it on the road. Almost got a 3-second penalty, which would have dropped me below Flying Duck, but he's a reserve anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, good race.
Yeah, I mean, Flying Duck, he gave you quite a run in those last few laps, and of course, Gaming James joined the fray very, very late on in the last corner. How was it racing K-Scott today? How was it?
Yeah, those guys. Okay, I'll call him Duck now because he changed his name. But
Yeah.
Duck, really, compared with a few races ago when he started, he was towards the back. But yeah, he's really picking up now, and it's good to see new guys sort of competitive. And Barry and Red Jade as well. I think they also avoided the crash. But their pace is really good, and often they're a bit further back. So it's nice to see everyone being a bit close together. I did see James was catching me about 3 seconds a lap because he obviously put the new tyres on, and I was keeping an eye on it, but I did notice he had the penalty, so I wasn't too worried. But yeah, there was good racing. It was just a shame, obviously, that early incident sort of separated everyone out so much.
Fair enough. Of course, the towards the end of the race, where drivers going to sort of third stints, going for a fresh set of intermediates later on. Did that thought cross your mind at all, or were you happy with where you were?
I was arriving at the pits when the VSC came out, and I had about 5 seconds to decide. And I just thought, if it ends while I'm in the pits, then and everyone else goes through, then I've lost out. But knowing where James caught up to, and he was behind me, obviously before the VSC, I would have benefited from pitting, but luckily it didn't make me lose any position staying out.
I'll be honest, I think maintaining the position would probably been the best thing that could have happened for you there. Well, of course, yeah, it's good points for Aston Martin. I mean, that will knock you guys above both AlphaTauri and Mercedes. Do you think you and Lucky can maintain that for the rest of the season?
We'll see. I think we got lucky today. Pardon the pun. But we're putting in 100% every race. So I know Lucky was unfortunately got taken out in that instance. So luckily I didn't, and I was able to get some points. But we'll have to see what happens in the next one.
Last question, of course. Talking about that next one, we have Zandvoort next up, which is always it's always let's call it interesting, shall we? Just to give it a nicer word. Do we see what we seeing for Aston Martin next week? We've seen both cars come through alive.
It's a bit of a curse track for this league, I think. This track in Austria are awful. It's a good track for me because I like high downforce tracks, and it flows quite nicely with the setup I've got. So hopefully I'll be able to pick up some more points, and hopefully Lucky will be there as well.
You said, excuse me, you said it's a curse track in Austria. I think me in particular, I thrive on the curse track, so you guys should get a good stream next week. But yeah, congratulations on the points, big points for Aston Martin today, and yeah, hopefully, should things go well, be more of the same next week.
Yeah, thanks guys.
No worries. Right, so that covers off then for this week's racing. Pope, it was good to have you back here, and of course our word is the rally on, or it's rally on actually, is our word / phrase for the day. So those of you who are here now, make sure to go down to the chat and note down those words, and let us know what you think of Pope's commentary now that he's back with us to actually hear your responses this time. And yeah, so from myself it's goodbye. From Pope I imagine it's goodbye as well. You want to sound something?
No.
Oh, he doesn't like us anymore, right? Yeah.
No goodbyes for Pope.
He doesn't like us. He's going to go to bed now. Right. That'll be all. Next week's race, the 8th of April, the Dutch Grand Prix. Again, cursed track, so it's one not to miss. We'll see you guys next week for round 14 in this fantastic season of RDL. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
It may have just picked up, I'm not sure.
Yes.